Hall of Fame quarterback Bart Starr passed over the weekend at the age of 85. What a career he had in the National Football League. Five-time NFL champion, two-time Super Bowl MVP. He was the MVP of the NFL in 1966. Holds the highest passer rating for the postseason of all time, despite all the other great quarterbacks we've seen in the past 50 years. Before the 2018 season started, Peter King had a chance to talk to Aaron Rodgers about his relationship with the late Bart Starr.
What were his letters saying?
Just super supportive and encouraging. Man, it meant the world to me because I knew I had the support of one of the greatest players of all time and definitely one of the greatest Packers of all time.
The feeling from Starr and wife Cherry is mutual. Last week, I visited Starr, who lives in Alabama. He's recovering from a 2014 stroke. And it wasn't easy, but he wanted desperately to read a message he wrote to his friend on the eve of the Packers' 100th season.
You are a strong leader. Cherry and I are admiring you because you are one of the finest men we have ever met.
That's something. And what a relationship that Bart Starr and Aaron Rodgers had. And Chris, you know, I discovered the NFL in the early 70s. Bart Starr was already retired. He would go on to coach the Packers for 8 years, from 75 to 83. But, you know, once you start to learn about the mythology of the NFL and that Packers team of the 60s, Bart Starr, the quarterback, the leader, even though the numbers were nothing then like they are now. I mean, the quarterback was a bigger deal in the 60s. They used to actually call their own plays. I remember what a big deal that was in the 70s when it shifted away from the quarterback calling the game on the fly. That's what Bart Starr did. He made the decision, play in and play out what he was going to do. He wasn't being micromanaged. None of the quarterbacks were at that time, and he was one of the very best at that time.
No, one of the very best at that time. I mean, Mike, really, I mean, right? I mean, if we were going to make a comparison to this day and age now, I mean, he's the Tom Brady of that era, right? I mean, I think that's the closest comparison. Vince Lombardi, Bill Belichick, that's kind of synonymous. Bart Starr, Tom Brady. Yeah, guys that were clutch, able to lead teams, you know, take the coaching of a tough, you know, kind of tyrant type of head coach that way, where it's just I'm in charge and this is the way it is and we do things my way. But the ultimate winner nonetheless. And hey, I do feel like sometimes some of these all-time greats, and I know we said this a little over text, you and I, yesterday, but they kind of times I feel like do get shuffled under the rug a little bit as far as we don't take notoriety as them being the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Bart Starr was the greatest quarterback of the 60s. He did special things. I feel like as time goes on, we do forget these names. He's up there with the Johnny Unitas's of the world and the Sonny Jurgensens and the Joe Namaths. And, you know, as time goes on, I think we talk less and less about him.
And think about how the rules have changed, and it started in the 70s to protect quarterbacks, to make it easier to have a passing game. It used to be you could mug the receiver all the way down the field until the ball was in the air.
That's right.
That one chuck in the first 5 yards was a creature of the mid-70s in an effort to make the game more offensively productive and thus exciting. And Starr thrived as a passer, especially in postseason settings, before those rule changes were made. Think about this.
Yeah.
In the 1966 postseason, Starr's passer rating was 143.5.
Wow.
For the regular season, the average passer rating was 67.4.
Man, it's unbelievable. It really is. I mean, hey, he's still, and correct me if I'm wrong, stats or anybody, but I mean, still the only quarterback to ever win 3 straight championships, right? He won an NFL championship, then won Super Bowl I and Super Bowl II to follow it up, to kind of put the NFL, you know, on the map as the king over the AFL at the time. You ever watch the old things about the Packers and, you know, Vince Lombardi, the pressure he was under from the NFL to win those first 2 matchups to show that they were the greater league over the AFL. But, you know, truly a great story. Bart Starr, Alabama. He's really the one that kind of started the quarterback factory from Alabama, right? To where, you know, the Ken Stablers and the Joe Namaths and everybody else that came after it were a product of what Bart Starr did there to begin with.
Career-high single-season passing yardage for Bart Starr, 2,438.
Yeah, it was a different game.
It was a big deal if you had 200 yards in a game back in those days.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.